when did you start being weird? When did you, when were you just
I was born with.
Were you? Were you
No.
never at any stage just an ordinary cook, an ordinary chef?
Yeah, basically what happened, I got fascinated with cooking food when I was a teenager, and then in the mid-80s I read this book by an American guy on the science of cooking. But it wasn't like food science, it was sort of why do eggs make your soufflés rise? And in the book this guy said browning meat doesn't keep in the juices. Ooh. And that went against everything that I'd read and come across before. Now there's lots of good reasons why you brown meat, but that's not true. And at that point, I then just became inquisitive. I was never inquisitive as a kid. Yeah. And I had a motto. In fact, it's in the book. I was lucky enough to have a coat of arms. Yeah. So it took a few years to design it, and you asked to put the motto on the bottom, either in English or in Latin. Question everything. And I think to go through life, just an annoying kid. Why? Why?
Yeah.
And having that and not being embarrassed to ask questions, found that a whole new world opened up to me. So when I opened the Duck, we were doing steak and chips and creme brulee and stuff like that. But then I came across this old recipe, Sicilian recipe for Parmesan ice cream, 1800 and something. I thought, that's a bit weird. And then I thought, well, why should it be weird? Only because we grew up with ice cream being sweet.
And you say at the book, you found that in a book, that's
up.
What this historic Heston Blumenthal. So this is a kind of look back historically at food in Britain. Yeah,
from about 15 years ago, I ended up, I met some historians that run the kitchens at Hampton Court Palace and realised I had no idea that go back a couple of hundred years ago, we had a gastronomy that was up there with anywhere else in Europe.
Really?
And the French have a nickname for us. They call les roast beef. And I always thought it's because they took the mick out of our love for roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. But it's not. In the 1800s, we were the leading experts in Europe on cooking meat over a fire. Oh. So they sent their chefs over here to learn how to cook.
And have you explored all the old recipes and tried them out? And can we still cook them today? Yeah,
the whole concept with this book is that I'm not replicating, I'm not a food historian. It's taking inspiration. So each chapter is a dish. We have the dish, the original recipe.
Got a Sussex pudding there. So it's just fallen open up.
Right. So you'll find at the beginning you have the old recipe. It could be from 1350. We then cook the old recipe, make comments on it. You have the chapters to where the research and how we decided to move it along and take the inspiration. It's got what was happening at the time, whoever was being beheaded or whatever. And then you end up with a new dish, and the new dish is very, very different. And the photography is...
It's a beautiful book.
They look like oil paintings.
I tend to think it is amazing to see that, because you do think that when you think historically that there was no fine dining, you think everybody just sort of had, pig's legs. Because every film you see everybody, even cowboy films, nobody has any finesse at a dinner table. But
and also, you tend to think of creativity as something kind of new. Yeah. But in those days, they had no sound systems or TV screens or anything like that. So at that higher kind of social level, food became
their entertainment.
Such a big.
But I'll tell you what else they didn't have much of: teeth. So how could their teeth would have been rotten and fallen out? They actually couldn't have enjoyed it the way.
When we go over there. Okay. I think I've got something that would just suit anybody without teeth.
Let's go now.